Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for hopping on live or if you're watching the recording. Really happy to have you listening in. Tonight we are going to talk about the health benefits of fasting. So I'm really excited to have you here tonight. This is our monthly wellness Zoom. So if this is your first time tuning in, I just want to welcome you and let you know that this is something that I started back in January just to share wellness knowledge and to add value to people that I'm connected with on social media or in real life. And so my name is Brittany Raup, and I have about 20 years experience in health promotion and wellness management. And currently I work one-on-one with individuals, particularly in improving gut health, and have this whole wellness community of people that are just trying to take care of their bodies and feel their best and do their best. And a big piece of that is nutrition, is exercise, right? All of the lifestyle things. So I love just hopping on and sharing information. And I'm so proud of you guys for wanting to be on here to learn a little bit more because really, like the more tools, the more knowledge that you are equipped with, you can just make better choices for yourself and for your family. And I see we have a lot of ladies on here. And I know as a mom of four, I feel like I'm the CEO of my family's health, right? Like I'm responsible for the food, the habits, the exercise, all the things. And so if you are in that role in your family, I just want to equip you with some tools. And so our past couple of wellness Zooms that we've done, we've talked about blood sugar balance, we've talked about sorry, letting more people in. We've talked about GLP-1, different topics, and now tonight we're going to dive into the health benefits of fasting. And you might be like, "Oh man, this is not my favorite topic because fasting sounds hard, right? Like it can be hard, it can be challenging, but I think you're going to leave with just understanding it better than you have before, hopefully. And I'm excited to dive in. So let's just dive right in. And we're going to be talking about fasting. And I want to start right away by saying that it's not going to be an extreme or an intimidating conversation. Okay. So if you're feeling like tense just with the topic, this is not going to be extreme or intimidating. I think fasting can feel a little overwhelming or maybe just feel trendy, like, oh, that's just like a trendy thing people do. And my goal tonight is to really just simplify it for us. And I just want you to leave understanding what it is, what it does in your body, and maybe one small way that you could try it if it feels like a good fit for you, right? Like no pressure, no all or nothing mindset, just information and options. And we're just going to break it down, okay? So let's start with like, what is fasting, and how does this work? So fasting is just intentionally creating space between meals. I want you to think of it that way. It's not starvation. It's not punishing your body or deprivation. It's just giving your body a break from constantly digesting food. And one thing I think we've really lost sight of in our culture is that our bodies were actually designed to be able to fast. Let me let more people in here. We were designed to be able to fast, right? We live in a world where food is available 24/7, right? We have convenience stores on every corner. We've got grocery stores galore. We've got Instacart. We've got Grubhub and DoorDash. Like literally, if you want something, boop, 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 and it will show up. Okay. So we have snacks in every cabinet. We can eat any time of day and we have incredible access to food. And on the one hand, that is wonderful and that is a gift, right? Like we're thankful, but it's not necessarily how our bodies were wired to function. Our bodies were built for cycles, times of eating and times of not eating. And the goal here isn't restriction, it's actually metabolic resilience. And that's a term I really like, metabolic resilience. We're going to talk about that a bit. But what that means is your body can use food for fuel when it's available, but it can also switch over and use stored energy when food is not available. A resilient metabolism can do both. It's not dependent on like constant input coming in. And for a lot of us, we've just unintentionally trained our bodies to rely on constant fuel, right? Like if we're not eating, we feel hangry, we eat. It's like we need that constant blood sugar high just to keep us going. And it's not necessarily because we did anything wrong. It's just this environment we live in is that's how we were raised, and it can kind of be a vicious cycle. And you have to remember that for most of human existence, and still today in many other cultures, food is not abundant, right? Like we're blessed to have abundant food, but that's not the case everywhere. So the body is actually designed to function in times of scarcity. Your liver kicks into gear and it breaks down glycogen and it breaks down fat stores to keep your blood sugar stable. Like it's truly amazing how the body is designed to work. So fasting It's creating space between meals. It's really just a gentle way to help your body remember what it was designed to do. There's several different types of fasting, and so I'm just going to go through them quickly, and you can tell me if you are familiar with any. So if you want to pop in the chat, tell me if you've tried fasting before. If so, what method did you use? I'd love to just see what you're familiar with. And there's no like best method. You have to do what works for your body and your season of life. And there are seasons where it's not appropriate to fast. For example, if you're pregnant, not the season to fast. If you are breastfeeding, it's not the season to fast. If you are severely underweight or you have a chronic illness, that's not the time to fast, right? Like we have to know our body seasons, and these different methods can meet you in different seasons of your life. So I see Jody say 16-8. Yes, that's a really popular method we'll talk about. And I really enjoy kind of experimenting with myself, like thinking of my body as like a workshop, right? I'm always experimenting, I'm trying new things, seeing what works. And it's honestly kind of fun, right? Like you can try out things and maybe this works for you and it doesn't work for someone else, but I'm always learning myself. And with the way that God designed us, there's so much amazing things to learn. So don't be afraid to play around with different things and find what works. And I want to encourage you not to get frustrated in your wellness journey in general. Don't get frustrated when you try something and it isn't a good fit or it doesn't work. That is still so like helpful information, such great information for you. It makes me think of like when a scientist is designing an experiment and they make their hypothesis, right? Like what they think is going to happen, their educated guess. If their experiment proves the hypothesis wrong, that is still valid and totally fine, right? It's still a great finding. You're still learning. So don't be afraid to play around. Don't be afraid to try new things and see what works for your body. And if something doesn't work for you, it is okay. That is still valuable information. You just pivot, you keep moving. And one more thing before I dive into the specific types of fasting is you need to make sure you have a healthy mindset around food, around fasting before you do this. So, like eating disorders are a real thing. We should not be using fasting as deprivation or punishment. And if that's a struggle for you, then this might not be a healthy option for you, right? So I just want to acknowledge that that is a real thing. And you have to go into this with a healthy mindset and make sure that you are properly fueling your body. And we're going to get into the details. So let's dive into some of the methods. Okay, the most common is intermittent fasting, and that's what Jody's talking about with the 16-8. It's choosing a window of time where you're eating and then a window of time where you're not eating. So it usually looks something like a 12 to 16 hour overnight fast. So, for example, if you finish eating dinner at 6 p.m. and you don't eat again until 8 a.m., that's a 14-hour fast, right? And so you're just maximizing the time that you're sleeping and like extending that window a bit by not snacking at night and maybe delaying your breakfast a bit. So that's very popular. It's very doable. It's a great fit for some people. It's not a great fit for everyone. What can happen if you constantly intermittent fast? So some people will do this like forever, right? They do it for years, is that it can down regulate your hormones and slow your metabolism down, especially if you're just doing it constantly. So I'll just share with you my personal preference. And this is from playing around. I used to do 16-8 fasting, and I feel like it worked for me for a good stretch. And then I started to not feel so great on it. And so I changed it up. So my personal preference is to eat 3 solid meals per day that are protein focused. So regardless of how long your fasting window is, even if it's just 8 hours overnight, when you break your fast, it should be with protein. And as a culture, we eat sugary breakfasts, okay? Cereal, waffles, pancakes, bagels, breakfast sandwiches, right? We love our carbs for breakfast, our sugar for breakfast. You want to start your day with protein. When you break your fast, protein is it, okay? So my preference, 3 solid meals a day, protein focused. And then I like to kind of shock my system with an occasional fast. So what that does is when you're eating regularly and especially high protein meals, your metabolism is high. Your metabolism is firing. You're burning calories. Your body's like, yes, we're getting regular fuel, so I can let go of fat. I'm not in starvation mode. And then a fast is super effective because your metabolism is really firing. Okay. But intermittent fasting is a great way to start. if you want to play around with that a little bit. And for some people, like I said, it works great and they can do it for long stretches of time. There's also a method called 5-2. And 5-2 is where you eat your normal healthy diet, right? It still matters what you eat and how much you eat, but you eat normally 5 days a week. And then you have two lower calorie or kind of fasting style days where you might eat 500 calories or less. So that's another method. It's very doable and it kind of gets that like your metabolism's firing and then you shock your system a little bit. So that's the 5-2 method. And you may have heard of OMAD. That's MAD, one meal a day. Okay, so that's an acronym for one meal a day. This is definitely more advanced. It's not something I usually recommend to start with. OMAD or one meal a day seems to work pretty well for men, less effective for women. And it's because your body, if you do it for long periods of time, really starts to go into starvation mode where you want to store more fat. So I don't typically recommend this. But I have seen some examples for men, especially if losing weight and decreasing blood sugar is a high priority, then this can be an effective tool for them. Okay, let me add someone else into the room here. Okay. And then there are 24-hour fasts, which some people do occasionally as more of a reset. So my personal preference is the 5-2 or the 24-hour fast, and I'll explain that more in a little bit. But quick question, have you tried fasting before? I see Jody's answer with the 16-8. You can just say yes or no, or kinda. Maybe you tried and it didn't work out. Just let me know in the chat, especially since I can't see faces here. No one's got their camera on, which is okay. But just so I can see that you're with me. Shannon says yes, she's tried. Rebecca's tried. Okay, great. So we have like a little bit of experience here with fasting. Mackenzie says yes. Denise hasn't tried. Okay, really great. Thank you for sharing. And if you think about it, when was the last time you went even 12 hours without eating? Most people realize it's actually pretty rare. Like we are just constantly snacking, eating like little things here and there. So maybe just reflect like, when's the last time I went 12 hours without eating? Maybe it was because you had to get blood work or you had to get some kind of a test done, but it's actually pretty rare. And okay, those are the types of fasting. There's some nuances within that. I'm actually gonna drop a graphic into our chat that is super helpful. And you can check this out while I'm talking. Let's see if this will go. This is a fasting timeline, okay? And so I know it's got a lot of information on there, but this might be something to just save to your phone and look at later. It shows like what happens to your body during a fast. And that's what we're going to get into next here, like what's actually happening in your body. So this is where it gets really interesting. And it's amazing, again, to see God's design and how beneficial fasting can be. So the first thing that happens is metabolic flexibility or fat burning. Okay. So when we're constantly eating, our body is just always burning glucose, right? We're dumping sugar in, the body's burning it. We're basically just burning sugar from the food we ate. But when you stop and create space and stop eating for a period of time, your body has to switch fuel sources. So we call that metabolic resilience or metabolic flexibility, that you can switch from the sugar burning to the fat burning. And when you do that, you obviously lose fat weight because you're burning that up. And this is where fasting can be really helpful for weight loss when it's paired with nourishing your body well. Okay. So I know a lot of my friends are using this like natural GLP-1 system, and we're like 3 meals a day, three protein focused meals a day. If you're doing that and nourishing your body well, and then you introduce a fast, it can be very, very effective because your metabolism is firing, right? And when you do that, it's a rhythm. It's not a punishment. You're not doing food deprivation to just feel miserable or kill yourself. It's a rhythm, and it's bringing that metabolic resilience into play. The second big thing that happens when you fast is something called autophagy. Autophagy, it's such a fun word. And this is basically your body's built-in cleanup system. So autophagy means like self-eating. And what happens is your cells actually clean up debris in your body. They clean up cells that are damaged. They provide detox for your body, and they recycle them. Okay, so this is like taking out the trash at a cellular level. And it's one of the reasons that fasting is being studied for things like anti-aging and even cancer prevention, not necessarily as a cure, but as something that supports overall cellular health, right? It's like You regenerate your cells when you get into this fasting mode. And you can see autophagy as on that fasting timeline. Let me pull it up. It's so tiny for me. Um, at what hour it happens. Okay, 24 hours, right? So when you start fasting, autophagy always happen in your body at like a low level. And as you lengthen your fast, that revs up, it goes up. And when you hit a 24-hour fast, you are really, really getting into that autophagy and that cell cleanup. You may also have benefits with energy and mental clarity. This is something that's really surprising to me when I do fast is, you think you'd feel exhausted if you're not eating, but many people actually experience the opposite. And that is because when your blood sugar is more stable, you don't get those constant spikes and crashes. So when fasting, you can actually feel more steady energy, clearer thinking, and better focus. So I'm curious if you have experimented with fasting before, how did you feel when you were fasting? And there could be a wide variety, but if you want to pop in the chat, how do you feel? Do you feel super hungry or do you feel steady? Maybe you hit a certain point where you were hungry and now you're not. And I'm going to dive into that for just a minute. Hold on, I'm going to mute somebody. Okay, so I want to tell you about your hunger hormones. And there's two hunger hormones. There's ghrelin and leptin. And when I think about ghrelin and leptin, I almost think about like the bad angel and the good angel on your shoulder. Like that's the mental image I get. But ghrelin is your I'm hungry hormone. Okay. So this is released in your stomach and it signals your brain that it's time to eat, right? Like I'm hungry. So it rises when you're hungry and then it falls after eating. All right. This is the hunger hormone, ghrelin. That's his name, ghrelin. And then we have leptin. Leptin is a different hormone, and leptin says, I'm full. I have enough energy. And it's released from your fat cells and it signals like we're good. Energy's good. You can stop eating. So, what is crazy is what happens to these two hormones when you fast. Hunger is not just like a straight line, it comes in waves and your hormones adapt. So, right after you eat, ghrelin is low. So ghrelin is low. Leptin is doing its job. You feel satisfied. You're in that fed state. But in 4 to 8 hours, ghrelin starts to rise, right? That hunger hormone starts to rise. And that's when you're like, I need to eat something, right? Like that's a hormone talking to your brain saying, I need to eat. Not a bad thing, right? It's helpful. This is your body following a rhythm. It's not an emergency. It's just a rhythm and a hormone talking to you. In 8 to 12 hours, ghrelin peaks. So this might be another hunger wave that you feel. But if you don't eat, something interesting happens. That ghrelin starts to drop again. Okay, so you might be doing a fast and thinking like, oh my goodness, I'm so hungry. It doesn't mean that your hunger is going to continue to go up. Most people find that it levels out and then it actually starts to drop. After 12 to 16 hours, right, which is that common intermittent fasting window, ghrelin stabilizes, hunger waves become less intense, and your body really starts to shift towards fat burning. And what's really cool is over time, if you practice fasting, not every day, it's not appropriate every day, but when you practice fasting, you become more sensitive to leptin, which means your body gets better at recognizing fullness. And you also release more dopamine when you eat, which means that you actually enjoy your food more. It's amazing. Like the brain chemistry is amazing. So you can train these hormones. But when it can go wrong is if you fast too aggressively or if you are chronically under eating, then ghrelin stays elevated. You can have constant hunger and your leptin can drop. Your body thinks it's in starvation. And this can lead to slow metabolism, hormone disruption, all kinds of problems. Okay. So fasting is something to be educated about. It's not just, oh, the more I fast, the better it is. No, definitely not. You need to understand how these hormones work, and then figure out what works for you. And you can't be in a starvation mode, underfed state. You do need to be prioritizing your nutrition. You do need to be getting enough, especially protein and also your micronutrients. And when you are well nourished, fasting can be an amazing tool and you can really train those hormones. Okay, so ghrelin and leptin, really, really interesting. And just to highlight some of the benefits, I just want to talk to you about what happens even if you stop eating 3 hours before bed. So that's so doable, right? Like if I'm going to go to bed at 9, I'm going to back up and say I need to stop eating by 6. This is a very like everyday thing you can do. Just by doing that, you will have a good fasting window. So these are the benefits just from that short fast. Wait, gotta let one more person in. Okay, better sleep quality. So when you eat too close to bedtime, your body is still in digestion mode when you're trying to sleep. Your heart rate stays elevated, your body temperature stays up, and that digestion is competing with your body's rest and repair mode. So basically, if you eat really close to bedtime, you are robbing your body of rest and repair because it has to keep digesting. That to me is a great motivator not to eat at night, right? Like I love grabbing popcorn or some kind of evening snack, but I am robbing my body of rest and repair if I'm eating at night. So backing up 3 hours before bed, stopping eating then, it helps you to fully shift into sleep mode, which is so important. It also supports fat burning overnight. So at night, your body naturally shifts into a more restorative fat burning state if it's not busy digesting food. So you're allowing your insulin levels to drop, your body to tap into stored energy. Again, this is one of those metabolic shifts that we want, and that supports fat burning, right? Your liver can actually burn fat to keep you going at night. Um, it also helps your blood sugar, so a more stable blood sugar. When you eat late at night, it can cause blood sugar spikes, followed by drops during the night. That can actually cause you to wake up. Like if you wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, sometimes it's because your blood sugar is bottoming out and your body's like, you're gonna die. But when you back up and you don't eat 3 hours before bed, you're more stable. It also supports overnight cleanup, so that autophagy, getting your body into cellular repair mode, and it improves digestion and reduces bloating. So those are just some benefits of even 3 hours before bed stopping eating. So it's amazing. It's really amazing. And there's more about that graphic that I sent you. A few other things that I personally love about fasting is that it exercises that self-control muscle, right? We are such an instant gratification culture. Like we just want things, we want them now, and we don't always exercise self-control. And when you do exercise self-control, you strengthen your ability. It really is like a muscle. It gets stronger as you use it. It also brings awareness to why or when I reach for food. So I have 4 kids at home. I find myself a lot of times just like picking on their stuff, reaching for snacks because they're having a snack. And I'm like, wait, am I even hungry? Like, do I even need a snack right now? Or sometimes just boredom or like buffering between, midday and moving to a different thing. It really brings awareness when you're fasting and you're not eating to be like, okay, I wanted to reach for this thing and now I'm more aware of that. Um, it also helps me remember that you really can trust your body to create energy when it's needed. You don't have to be constantly putting sugar in, coffee in, caffeine in to keep your body going. Your body can handle it. It knows what to do even when there's not all that coming in. And I also really love the mental clarity that comes from that level blood sugar. It makes so much sense to pair fasting and prayer, right? Like that we see so often in scripture. And it's amazing that fasting actually leads to more mental clarity, right? It's like the two go so well together. And then there is a spiritual connection as well, right? Like I know this is talking about the health benefits of fasting, but there is certainly a spiritual benefit that we can't ignore. And that is such a big part of your overall health too, is, your spiritual wellness, your emotional wellness. And it's not just something that happens in the body, but it's choosing intention, it's backing away from constant consumption, and it can be a great reminder that we just don't need to be filling every space with food or comfort or distraction. Kind of just removing food from the equation creates room for prayer, for clarity, for dependence on God. And if you think about that, it's not just removing food, it's actually making space for something better and something greater. So I'm curious, has anyone ever practiced fasting from a spiritual perspective before? If you want to just tell me in the chat, I'm just curious to know if that's something that you align with fasting. There's certainly a ton of just physical benefits, but I think the spiritual is something it's worth mentioning, and it's been really powerful for me. Chelsea, yes, cool. And if it aligns with you, it can be a really spiritually refreshing to do it with a group of like-minded friends. So I love like doing it with somebody and like texting them as we're going through the day or getting together and praying over a specific need or a decision. It can be really, really powerful. Yeah. Oh, I love that, Rebecca. So cool. So yeah, it's a great way to heal your body and to support your system and to do that cellular cleanup and also to connect deeper with the Lord. So I love that. Okay, so let's get into some practical application. What does this actually look like in real life? How can you add it in? I have some tools to share with you because I don't want it to feel overwhelming. So if you're brand new to fasting, you really don't want to jump in with anything extreme. You can start very simply by just stopping eating a little earlier at night or pushing breakfast out slightly, just aiming for a 12-hour overnight fast. That alone can be very powerful, especially if you have a lot at night or it's just a little chaotic. Establishing that eating window and that fasting window is super helpful. And then over time, as you get to know how your body responds, you can build on that. You can stretch to 13, 14, 16 hours, or you can try something like the 5-2 rhythm, where a couple days a week look different, or a 24-hour fast once every week or two. And the key is really consistency and listening to your body and not forcing it. And I'll just go back to my personal experience. Again, everybody's going to be different, but I played around with intermittent fasting, and I do like the 5-2 method. But my personal favorite way is to do a 24-hour fast that starts around like 5:30 p.m. one day and ends the next day at 5:30. So what that does is it lets me get a good overnight fast going, and it's not distracting to my family because I eat dinner with them before I start my fast. And then I eat dinner with them again when I'm done. And it's kind of like it doesn't disrupt anyone and it's not a big deal. So I've certainly told my kids I'm fasting before and it's fine. But I have just found that that 24-hour fast, it really feels good for my body. I feel very energized afterward, very mentally clear, and it works great. So that's just what I do. I've also found that I can go about all my activities like tutoring. I homeschool my kids, even working out and all that. I can do all that without any problem with the 24-hour. And it might be something you have to work up to. I certainly like before I started focusing on my gut health and getting healthier and balancing my sugar, I could not have done it. I had PCOS, I had insulin resistance, and a 24-hour fast I would have been in bad shape. But because I got my gut health under control and my blood sugar balance, now I'm able to fast. So it may be just something you need to work on as you're working on your health. A 24-hour fast once every 2 weeks, honestly, Shan, like I think that's what I've been doing, and that can be really helpful, especially if you're trying to lose weight or you really want to train your metabolism. But if you're going to do that, you need to be eating on the other days, right? You need to be focusing on high protein meals, fueling your body regularly, and then a 24-hour fast will be very effective. If you find that fasting makes you feel junky or you get shaky, then you're just not metabolically resilient yet. Okay, so if you try it and that's how you feel, that's actually a warning sign that you've probably got insulin resistance going on. Your liver and your pancreas are not up to speed to keep you level in the absence of food. And that's good information. The good news is you can fix that. So, like I said, I used to be completely unable to fast, but now I can fast without any issues because I've worked on those things. But just be aware if you feel really junky when fasting, you need to work on your metabolism and we can talk. Okay. So let me know because I have some tips for you. And I will just mention this briefly. I grabbed my reset box. This is how I started to play with fasting in the beginning. This is a nutritionally supported fast from the company that I partner with, Plexus Worldwide. It's a great tool if you want a gentle intro into fasting because it gives you 3 days that you can do. It's 500 calories a day, 70 grams of protein, and it lays out everything in the box. So like it comes with everything you eat and drink for the day in the box. Very high protein, very high nutrient, but low calorie. And so this is a metabolism reset that is very regimented and laid out for you for 3 days, but it's not a complete fast. It's a nutritionally supported fast. So you can do 3 days, or something that I've really thought was a good idea is getting two of these and doing 2 days. So if you got two kits, you'd have 6 boxes, doing two for 3 weeks. That I want to play with. And if you want to try that with me, I think it would be really, really cool because then you're getting that 5-2 fasting window and you're doing it for 3 solid weeks, but everything's really clearly laid out. So it takes the guesswork out of it. Okay. So that's a tool. Again, it's not like you have to have this kit to be able to do it. Can you fast without this tool 100%, but it might be helpful. So if you are curious about that and you're like, you know what, I want to try it, but I want to be nutritionally supported, I want to take the guesswork out of it, just say reset in the chat, or you can message me after and I'll send you more info. Okay, and I know we're out of time, but what I want to leave you with is this, and then I'm going to send you a couple resources. Fasting is not about pushing your body harder. It's about working with how it was designed. Okay. So when you're doing this, you're swimming upstream. You are going against the cultural flow, but your body knows how to do this. We're just creating space for your body to function the way it was created to, right? Our culture says indulge, 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 instant gratification. You deserve entitlement, like everywhere, right? So we're slowing down and we're saying, no, I don't have to be constantly eating. There is peace and there's growth and there's steadiness found sometimes in restricting a good thing for a season, right? Taking away a good thing for a season can be enormously helpful. And honestly, it helps you appreciate and really enjoy your food and the nourishment that it brings even more as it pushes you towards relying on God. Like for me, that's just the whole thing. So you don't need to overhaul overnight, even little shifts, like starting with backing up 3 hours before bed, I'm going to stop eating. That can be enormously beneficial, just like we talked about. So if you have questions, if you want help figuring out what this could look like for you, I'm always happy to chat. If we're not connected, my name right there, Brittany Raup, that's how you find me on Facebook, or on Instagram. It's Raising the Raup. So you can find me. And I'm going to share a simple guide. I'm going to drop it in the comments here. This kind of is just like a small recap of what we talked about. So if you want something to kind of look back, a little summary, this is a fasting starter guide. And then I also, at the end of our monthly wellness Zooms, just ask if you would please click on this Google form and let me know about topics you'd like to hear about, feedback, or if you're curious about doing a reset together. We do have a support group for reset starting up the end of this month. And then also so if you want to jump in and play around with fasting a little bit, but have some extra support, that is a great way to do it. So I will give you a second to grab those links. I really, really appreciate you being here. I enjoy doing these calls so much. So I hope it was valuable to you. And if you want to send this recording out to a friend, it'll be available and I would be happy to share it with everyone. We'll spread the word. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful night.